Hey everyone, it's John with the God and Government podcast. In Joshua chapter 4, there's a story in which God tells Joshua to have the Israelites pull 12 stones out of the base of the Jordan River and set them up as a monument. Now, the quick history is that the Israelites had come out of Egypt. God had brought them out of slavery. He opened up the Red Sea under Moses so that they could walk through and escape the Egyptians, and he destroyed the Egyptians when he closed the waters on them. Then they wandered in the desert for 40 years, and they came up to the Jordan River to get into the promised land finally, and he splits the waters of the Jordan River and has them walk across. And so Joshua, according to God's direction, has to have the Israelites set up this monument. And the monument was for the purpose of teaching history. God tells Joshua, hey, set these up so that future generations will look upon these stones and ask, why are they here? And then you can instruct them, say, this is what God has done for our people. And basically, that story gives us an idea of how God wants us in general to remember our history. It is super important for us to look to the past so that we can understand what happened, and we can understand where we are and give us an idea of where to go in the future. Now, I say that because this month, recording in February, is Black History Month. And I believe that it is important for all Americans to understand Black history. Black history is American history. I've heard that said, and I agree with it. So much of the American story is told through the tragedy and the triumph of Black Americans. Black Americans have a very unique history, coming from, the depths of slavery to emancipation to segregation, and then, ultimately resulting in an African American becoming the president. I believe that history is, and when you look at it in its totality, is a story of incredible triumph. We have to understand it and learn from it. However, we have seen over the last couple of decades an effort to diminish that triumph, and particularly the political left doing its level best to try to drive wedges again in between white America, Black America, and so forth. And it's been in my view, a very destructive process. And with the election of President Trump, we've seen, America, I think in a lot of ways, pushing back and saying, no, we want to get back to the place where race had become incidental to who we are as Americans instead of essential. Now, I'm going to show you a video here that I found in my research online, a video from 1952 that's going to be very instructive for us understanding American history as we are in Black History Month. So here's the video.
Eisenhower answers America.
General, the Democrats are telling me I never had it so good.
Can that be true when America is billions in debt, when prices have doubled, when taxes break our backs, and we are still fighting in Korea? It's tragic, and it's time for a change.
Wow. Now, as I said, that video was from 1952. It was a campaign commercial. Dwight Eisenhower was the Republican candidate for president. Now, if you know your history, Eisenhower was one of the generals who won World War II. Great American hero and, basically a military genius. And I found it fascinating that in this video, the advertisers, or the campaign, I suppose, utilized a Black American to ask Eisenhower a very pertinent question. Now, think about this. 1952 is less than 100 years from the end of the Civil War. It is still 5 years in front of when Eisenhower would sign the first of the modern civil rights legislation. That happened in 1957. This video was filmed long before DEI, long before critical race theory, long before the civil rights movement, even a couple years before Brown versus Board of Education, landmark civil rights case that went to the Supreme Court. And the reason why I wanted to show you guys this video is for us to remember this is sort of a small stone in American history. It shows the incredible progress that America had made and has made in race relations. as far back for us as 1952. If things were so bad, if America is such a horrifically white supremacist nation and has always been, how in the world in that day and age, 1952, would somebody think to utilize a black man in a television commercial to try to support a presidential candidate? I think it puts the lie to that allegation of how bad and how repulsive America actually is. I think we are a great country. And if we simply remember our history, the full scope of our history, warts and all, we're going to see a whole lot more triumph than we are going to see tragedy. And if we can get back to a place where we are looking at race as incidental to who we are as Americans, as opposed to essential to who we are, we're going to be so much better off. I think we ought to be looking at the Bible as well. Remember those historical narratives that teach us. And remember also 1 Samuel 16:7, where God teaches that he looks at the heart and not the external appearance. The heart is way more important. So, as always, everybody, think biblically. Check us out online on the X platform at God and Gov, which is GODANDGOV. Peace out.